and welcome to episode 4 of the Football Fanatic podcast. I'm your host, Declan O'Connor. With me on the panel this week are Daniel and Howard. Returning to us is Kieran O'Connor, and we have a brand new fan today. We have John Muldoon. He's a Chelsea fan. So, John, you're very welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers.
And Kieran, good to have you back. How are you doing?
Oh, good now, lads. Yeah, good to see your faces again.
Likewise. You still haven't got a haircut, I can see. I'm only joking. All right, lads, we're going to get straight into it. The weekend review, and there's only one place to start, which is at St James's Park yesterday, which is Newcastle versus Liverpool. I know we're only 3 weeks in, but it was a game for the ages. And Dan, I'm going to go straight to you in a second. Just first of all, I have no affiliation to Newcastle, no affiliation to Liverpool whatsoever. But when Núñez got the second goal, I was celebrating. That's what football does to us. And people have asked over the years, why are people so obsessed with the game? There you go. Yesterday was a prime example as to why people are obsessed with football, because 90 minutes, two teams, literally anything can happen. So Dan, how are you today? I know you were at an old Gallagher concert last night, but the match, tell us, how did you feel kind of after the first few minutes, and then at the end, what were the emotions like?
Yeah, as you put it very poetic there, Dick. It was fucking insane, wasn't it? And
Brilliant.
both games on Sunday really kind of gave you the whole cliche of 1-0 is a dangerous scoreline. Sheffield United nearly fucking robbed it after having the ball for the majority of the game, and I thought likewise ourselves for about 70 minutes. We were completely outplayed, bullied. It was disastrous to watch, to be honest. And just whatever kind of happened, I think the substitutions played a key role in it. I thought Tonali and Gordon were maybe Newcastle's best players on the day. Took both of them off, and then we stuck on Elliott and Jota actually originally, and then we started just to kind of get the ball a bit more. Newcastle seemed to run out of ideas a small bit. They had loads of chances, and they a lot of half chances, or if they played the right pass, they were in. I think if had it done what they did to Villa in the first weekend, we could have been looking at a bit of a hockey game, to be honest. But that's just football, isn't it? You kind of dig in. Fairness, they did dig in, and they got a bit of luck for the equaliser. There's no doubt about the winner. It was, the two finishes were exceptional, and it was a roller coaster of emotions. Not for the first time as a Liverpool fan to be beating the chest, whipping off the t-shirt there in the 90-something minute. It happens a lot. It's funny enough, I watched the game with my two brothers. One of them's a Newcastle fan, the other one's a Liverpool fan. But the other one that is a Liverpool fan, we were just talking about some of the games that we watched recently in the last little while together. So we watched the Alisson header. We watched that in our home house last year when they played Spurs, and they were 3 up, and then Spurs go back to 3-3, and then Jota got the winner. We watched that one, so we've had a bit of a roller coaster of games watching them. Actually, we're counting a few of them there as well. But yeah, it was fucking unreal. And actually, just hang on a second here now. Can you hear this? Can you hear this here? That's not the drink now that I drank last night. It's Newcastle bottling a 1-0 lead there. Fucking wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
No, your brother's a Newcastle fan, man. Take it easy on him.
He is. I heard that the Saudis in Newcastle have put a bid in today. They bid 200 million and looking for a bit of courage and a bit of heart and a bit of minerals.
Jesus Christ.
I know. All fair and loving. We could crack Esther. He was giving it fucking big one.
Of course he was, absolutely.
Just to kind of, I suppose, not to be flaking over the game. Trent definitely should have been sent off. I think it was a foul on the first one, but once he was on a yellow, it was a stone wall.
I'm actually gonna come back to you on the three specific incidents. I'm just gonna go to each of the lads now on their opinion on. So Howard, first of all, should Trent still have been on the pitch?
Well, going by I don't mean to bring Arsenal up again, but going by the Tomiyasu sending off last week, which was pretty much the exact same thing. He got first yellow for time wasting, and then the second yellow for the push in the back, and it was basically a pull. So I thought Trent was nearly more obvious his tackle, but the one thing I'd say is Gordon did push Trent in the back, it was a foul, so whether the ref probably maybe could have got something in his ear after that incident saying, look, the yellow card he gave there, he was pushed in the back, whatever, and then he heard that, and that's not, you're re-refereeing the game then at that stage, but I think maybe something like that came into play for the reason why he didn't get the second yellow. So
Did the ref bottle it?
did he bottle it? I suppose he did. I think maybe the time on the pitch, and there it is. Yeah, I think the time on the pitch and the time that was gone in the game probably maybe helped Trent in that case. Like, because I think if that was midway second half, he's gone. Like in St James's Park as well, away from home, the crowd would be going mad. So, but look, I think overall, like I don't want to get onto Van Dijk's situation, but with him getting sent off, like that was a sending off as well. But like, when you weigh up both of them, I think overall probably one red card over the game was a fair decision by the ref, and it keeps it interesting. Like, if the two of them got sent off, it would have been game over. Like, but
yeah, no,
fair play to Liverpool now. I must say, did brilliant. And Nunes, we talked about him last week. He really came in and made a big impact. And I think if you can get him going, Dan, he'll be some unit to stop.
As we said last week, through the middle. Give him a little lock of games through the middle. You can do damage. Yeah.
Yeah, just one last thing. Newcastle should have killed the game off, I thought.
100%.
Absolutely.
Harvey Barnes had that square ball. I don't know what he was thinking, but
I agree. Alisson had a fantastic game. John, just a quick one to you now. Virgil van Dijk, was it a red card? Do you think he should have been sent off? The majority of people I spoke to today said yes, but there are a few people that said it didn't warrant a red card. What did you think of that one?
I thought it was a Stonewall penalty or a Stonewall red card. I mean, like, if Isaac lets the ball run past him, he's clearly throwing goal. There's no one going to get near him. Like, he's going to have a shot free in the box. Like, I think Van Dijk had to go. Like you can see, I think it made it easier for the ref as well, that he kind of had made a mistake on Trent to just go, right, look, you've got the rub of the green here, lads. You're definitely going for this one.
What's he call it? Carragher was on. Was he on at half time? I think it was. And he was defending Van Dijk, saying it's not a red card, etc. And he was saying, like, you don't know that it's going to be a goal scoring opportunity, which I thought was the most ridiculous statement ever. Like, I mean, there was nobody behind Virgil van Dijk. Had he gone by him, he was absolutely one-on-one with. He was only a few yards from Alisson.
Yeah. So,
like, to argue that it was not going to be, that you don't know that it's a goal scoring opportunity, was ridiculous. And I fully agree. It was a free kick. It was a red card. He was a last man back type thing. So he did have to go. Kieran, I'm going to move on to you now. We said 2 weeks ago, actually, when you were on the show, I was talking to Dan about Diaz, Jota, and Salah being Klopp's main three of choice.
Mm-hmm.
Can that now be called into question after what Nunes did yesterday?
Well, I think Nunes offers you chaos in the positive sense, and then sometimes in the negative sense. Maybe we saw the more negative sides of that chaos last year, and this year is going to come good. He's made a pretty strong advertisement for why he should be getting, the prominent role in that tree in the center. But also what it showed was such great link-up play. I mean, Salah playing the ball through, coming a little bit deeper, really showed his value outside the box, So I think it's sad that Diaz had to be sacrificed, because I think he's such an exciting and dangerous threat. Even the best chance Liverpool had before the sending off was Diaz. He forced a save out of Nick Pope. So I think between the three of those, I think Jota is he's really good in the 6-yard box. He's good for getting on the end of crosses, getting on saves or parries by the keeper. But Nunes offers you something much more dynamic. He's fast. He can get behind. He can play the line very well. And if I was picking the top three, I'd put Nunes in there at the moment based on last weekend. But also, when he gets it right, he does it right. But he's also liable to slice it and put it out for a throw in sometimes too. And that's just great entertainment value.
Yeah, no, definitely. Suppose a quick question just to finish up on this one. Dan, you've heard rumors of Salah and Saudi in the circus. Is there any possibility, do you think, that Salah leaves Liverpool before the window in Saudi closes?
Yeah, look, football taught us anything is that you can't rule out fucking anything, can you? But I would very much doubt it. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. But I do agree with the lads there. I think that just on the instance, that I think Trent definitely was a red. And Van Dijk one as well, I think it was reckless. And I think Van Dijk, if it a couple of years ago, wouldn't have made that challenge. But he wouldn't even been in that position. He would have. It was reckless, and it left a lot. And I do think it was a goal scoring opportunity. But though, I think that I read today that if it was inside the box, it would have been a pen and a yellow card. But if it's outside,
it's one of them odd rules.
But I don't think Salah will go anywhere. But I'd rather the windows to close quickly. To be honest.
Tomorrow morning we wake up to 150 million bid from Al Hilal, Nasser, whichever one.
Like the final word, if you don't mind, I just have to say I really enjoyed Jamie Carragher's conspiracy theory that the Saudi owning Newcastle had leaked the suspicion of some Saudi club bidding for Salah in the week before the game.
Oh, really? Oh, God, I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear that, but if that's true,
tinfoil hat on.
Right. Move on to the next game. So, Arsenal versus Fulham, 2-2. Again, I watched the highlights of this game. It was a poor start by Arsenal, but they did improve. Howard, just a very quick recap. What did you think of the game?
Well, like my
he says as he has to take a sigh before he speaks. I love it.
Like I suppose that's like my weekend has had a tinge of sadness behind it since 5 o'clock on Saturday, and that was because of that result, I guess. I think, look, Arsenal have this weird thing of when they're playing at home, they concede these mad early goals. I don't know what's going on there, whether it's a concentration issue. And like Ramsdale I don't really blame Ramsdale. Ramsdale was caught in no man's land. And, the first goal was just, after 57 seconds or something. So, I think that, look, if they can't keep conceding goals at home like they are, and like they were last year, if they want to get close to the title, I think Arteta again is experimenting with the players. Gabriel not playing again. Weird. Find that weird. I think
I was about to ask, like, is he changing too much?
Well, look, you might know from Pep, like you might know even better than me. Like, what was Pep always experiment? Like, I know he did the crazy thing in the Champions League final and all that, but was there a point where like City fans were like, come on? Like,
absolutely. I mean, that year we lost to Chelsea, he took Rodri off, and Rodri or Fernandinho, neither of them were playing. Like, it was fucking ridiculous. Yeah. But I mean,
even last season,
I don't know. Last season, look at Arsenal. They were fantastic. They had like such a brilliant start.
Did a setup. Like they did play. Like Arsenal haven't played this setup all pre-season. It's just all of a sudden now they played it once or twice last year with Partey at right back. So there's something. I think there's something going on with Gabriel. He's trying to fit Havertz into the team as well. I think you need to have a few ways of playing. I get that, but like will be really interesting against United next week. How he actually sets up. Is Arteta getting like he's obviously an intelligent manager. Sometimes can they overdo it with their tactics and all that. So look, let's see. It's only 3 games in. 3 games in Fulham. It's just disappointing. You're gone down. You come back to 2-1 up. Then they go down to 10 men. The game should be over. The game, bring on Gabriel, see it out. He's there. Zinchenko has a misplaced pass for the build up of their corner. So just little errors like that and I think he could change it quicker, Arteta, when it comes to subs and that. So look, we'll see. We'll see.
There just seems to, like, I'm reading a few different reports in the papers, etc. That is he overthinking it? Is he changing too much too soon? Because I mean, they added to that team Rice, Timber, Havertz. It doesn't seem to be when you say it like that. It doesn't seem to be a negative thing, but you're just wondering, has it too much changed too soon? But I'm actually glad we have a Chelsea fan here on the issue of Havertz signing. Okay, I was reading the paper today, and I read today that is Havertz going to cost Arsenal a title challenge? So I want to go to John first and ask, did you like Havertz at Chelsea? Are you glad he's gone? What did you think of him?
Yeah, no, I think Havertz he's a hard player to summarize, because you look at him and he's a good touch. He looks graceful on the ball. And he'll always have that goal in Porto, sticking it past Ederson there.
Relax.
That was a particular sweet spot, that one. But he's a bit like Torres, you kind of remember the goal against Barcelona, but he didn't do much else. That's what it kind of feels like with Havertz. Like, he's talent. There's something about him, but I kind of get the feeling Arsenal are falling into the same trap Chelsea have had the last 2 or 3 years with him, where you're trying to work out what to do with him. Like, Rice is an easy fit in, Timber's an easy fit in, but Havertz, you're kind of switching everything around to put him in the team.
Yeah, like, that's what I mean
not
when
clinical
I say
enough up front.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I mean when I'm saying. Yeah, too much. Is he trying to change things too quickly? Would it have been an idea to bring Havertz in, bring him in from the bench, kind of, keep what you were doing last season because it was working. It was like Arsenal were for 80% of last season. Arsenal were
but they're not doing it. They're not doing it because of Havertz. They're doing it because they want to be unpredictable and a different way to play. Like, you know what I mean? That's the baseline of it. Like, you know, I don't think it's, and it could be related to the Gabriel thing. I think like even with Zinchenko in there, he still might play Havertz in that A position. But I understand John's saying, like, he has that languid style, so he comes across quite kind of lazy, nearly, you know, the Ozil Berbatov kind of, you know, kind of walking around. But he does put a shift in. His touch is good. His off the ball, like, literally his movement. Like, there's loads of the clips I've seen afterwards, like, oh, he's open. Like, there's someone. How has someone not found him? Like, you know what I mean? So his movement's good, but like, he is a bit of an enigma, so it could go either way. The critics are on his back already. There's a load of people out there. The Chelsea fans had made it. I don't know if you've seen it, a failed compilation of his first game in pre-season where they had him falling over and all this, like, after like 2 minutes, and like it's OTT, obviously, give the lad a chance, but it could be a flop. It could go south, but it could work out. You know,
absolutely. Let's see. If he puts in two goals next weekend, I mean.
Yeah, like, sorry, just to think, Odegaard, when his first season, he didn't shoot the lights out.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
and Arteta can do wonders, but let's see. I'm not holding my breath anyway.
I do say that I wish when Fulham's first goal went in that we had a camera on David Raya on the bench, because I'd say there was an initial you can't celebrate too much.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
Ramsey didn't look great, did he?
I was doing this underneath the desk or something.
Yeah, he was out of position, but look,
Very good, very good. Right, so we'll move on. Bournemouth versus Spurs. So 2-0 to Spurs. Ange Ball has arrived in the Premier League. I didn't know what the hell it was 2 weeks ago, but Kieran, first of all, before we talk about Ange, Maddison could be one of the signings of the summer. Dan, you were saying this a few weeks ago, and I agree fully. I mean, he had which is nothing in today's game, and I mean, like, he'd fit into any of the teams up at the top, you know. And Spurs seem to kind of they got him very quickly as well, which is, you know, unlike Daniel Levy, he seems to love doing business towards the end of the window, but they got him in very quickly, and like, you know what you're getting from Maddison. You're getting that number 10 creative player, and he scored on Saturday, and he already has 2 assists to his name from the first game. So I suppose, I think he's going to be one of the signs of the summer. Kieran, Ange Ball, this is you communicated this to us 2 weeks ago. So can you delve into it a little bit more, please, and tell us a little bit more about this man from Scotland that is turning things around at White Hart Lane. Sorry, not White Hart Lane anymore, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
I dropped this concept on you 2 weeks ago, fresh, with no warning, and it's just been blowing your mind since.
I haven't stopped thinking about Ange for 2 weeks.
Well, if you're like Robbie Williams, you're singing "I'm Loving Big Ange" instead. The reworked version of Angels.
What a song!
That's
very
pretty
good.
Actually, you got to say. For a man, I believe, who's a lifelong Port Vale fan, he's even been converted to Angie Ball.
Very good.
Quickly.
Very good.
It's very exciting to watch. It's very positive, very forward, very fast. The analysis of match today, I thought, captured Maddison's role quite well, where obviously he was attacking and given a lot of freedom that third of the pitch, but also he was given freedom to come back and help kind of be a roving midfielder, helping the Spurs defenders stifle and kind of cut out that high pressing from Bournemouth as well. So he was given a lot of freedom by Postecoglou to kind of be everywhere as much as or as little as he wanted to be, and they kind of reaped the benefits of that. He got on the end of a goal, and I mean, the finish wasn't, you know, super classy. It won't be on goals of the season contenders, but it was the culmination of a very well worked move. And also, I think Maddison sort of fulfills a different role for Spurs or Spurs fans as well, in that he's the kind of he can become the kind of fan favorite cult, maybe the kind of leader on the pitch, maybe replace some of that role that Kane sort of had as well. So yeah, it's all very exciting. Spurs are getting great rave reviews at the moment for how much of a basically a Stifler party animal they are. It's all good times and it's all good times and parties in the stadium right now. So we'll see how it goes. They've got some bigger tests ahead, but yeah, it's a lot of fun right now watching Angie Ball.
Angie Ball. I suppose, look, with Harry gone, I mean, look, he's doing so far. He started very well in Germany. Was he a bit of a distraction, do you think, with Spurs? I mean, not obviously, look, he's a world-class player, but I suppose, was he, because there's been such a distraction about him over the last 2-3 years. City tried to buy him last season, like there were a number of clubs interested. Now he's finally gone this season. It's a stupid question, but you know what I mean when I ask it. Are Spurs better off without Harry Kane now? Dan?
Oh no, I don't think so. No, like I know they've had a good start, but
what I mean is, like, the distraction of him. Will he stay? Will he go each season for the past 2 or 3 years? Now that that's done, like, it's a distraction. It's gone with. Is that the kind of
a 30 goal a season distraction though?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not with you on that one. I think.
No, that's fair enough. I was just throwing it out there, seeing what you thought.
I think I know the distraction was there, and he obviously had made his intentions clear. Like, he went with Gary Neville's overlap and basically said, "What's the league Spurs?" Like, that's pretty much what he did, didn't he? Like, and
I was getting it from Paul Merson today. He was his headline was "No Harry, no problem."
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And that's obviously reactionary to the start that they've had. Like, it is a new Spurs side, it is a new way of playing, but like that started well. But like the chances are like that, and then in the weeks to come, as Kieran said, they have tougher tests ahead. But also as well, teams will understand eventually how to combat handball. I would think. What I will say about them though is they've no European football, so if you could get Richarlison chipping in with a few. I think that that's kind of the missing key. I know that at the moment that they're scoring goals, and it's great to see actually Spurs being able to get goals from other positions and not just relying on Kane or like Son is another one that's kind of, as I said, I think mentioned last week, needs to kind of maybe up the numbers again to the level he had where he was joined Golden Boot a couple of years ago. So it's been good early days for them. I think the midfield is amazing, like how they've just managed to bring lads in that really none of us really would have talked about or expected. Not anyone really expected it to have had the impact it's had so early on. But they are good. I think Maddison, though, if he is injury prone, and he's proven that. And even like he left, I thought he might play this weekend. I know there was talk, but he left in a bit of his precautionary. But he always needs to pick up injuries, and I'd worry that if he's out of the team, that midfield is a workman-like midfield without him. And who is going to tread them balls through to Kubileski and Song and Richarlison? And I have no time for Richarlison. I don't like him at all. Didn't like him. He was at Everton. Don't like him when he was at Spurs. But I just feel that if he could get him going.
Can I stop you there for a sec? Just why don't you like him?
I just don't know.
No one likes him, Deck.
Yeah,
come on, let's be honest.
He's just
the pigeon, isn't it, or something to call him?
Yeah, I don't know. He's just one of them. I've never liked him. Yeah. Like Pepe. I never liked fucking that Pepe.
I don't know.
What you called Neymar a few weeks ago? Overrated shite bag.
Yes, anyway, that was it, yeah. But anyway, no, I think they're it started very well. And I wouldn't be getting. I know people are getting very excited about them. Spurs are Spurs at the end of the day. So
Spurs.
I think if you're Postecoglou though, you've got to be happy with Kane going, because it's after giving you a bit of leeway with the fans. Like they're going to buy in, and he's had a good start as well, so that always helps. But they're not going to be. Normally, they kind of expect to be nearly winning the Premier League. They're completely unrealistic. But with Kane going, it buys him a bit of time.
Definitely, it sets realistic expectations.
Good to watch.
Yeah. Okay. Next, Sheffield United versus Manchester City. So, this was an odd performance from City because we couldn't break them down. They had 11 men behind the ball, but we could not break them down. Whatever whatever they tried. And Foden was on the bench. Now, I was kind of learned throughout the match it was because he was sick. Because, I mean, after his performance last weekend against Newcastle, I thought he'd be an absolute guaranteed starter. Pep wasn't on the bench either. He was actually recovering from back surgery. So, but he was in the ear of his assistant. So he was still having an influence. But I suppose Haaland had been trying. He had 2 or 3 great chances. And eventually Grealish kind of was able to assist him 4-1. Then Kyle Walker does whatever the hell. I don't know if any of you seen it, but like all he had to do was let the ball run out of play. But he tried to be smart, back heel it, and led to Sheffield United's equaliser. Then a couple of minutes later, 3 minutes later, he redeemed himself, and Rodri got us the equaliser because of Walker's assist and his Walker's work on the wing. But I mean, I heard today as well that could Manchester, and I'm going to stay out of this. I'm just going to let you answer this one. Could Manchester City walk the league this year? Howard?
Yes, of course they could. I think after 3 games,
could they walk it as in? Could it be super easy for them?
Yeah, it's shaping up. It's shaping up to go that way. The question I was thinking about this today, Deck, and I had a kind of question for you on it. Is like, how do you feel about City and the Premier League anymore? Like, do you find it like, are you still as excited to watch them now as you were 2 or 3 or 4 years ago when they were like, okay, 50-50 to win the league, and now they're like 90-10 to win the league? Are you like, oh, I wish there was a bit more competition, it's too easy now? Or are you kind of like, we'll take it, we'll keep taking it?
I'll tell you what I was like, all right? I was watching the Community Shield and I was shouting at the TV.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I don't care if it's a Carabao Cup and we're playing Swindon. I love every single game, and I've have this kind of chat with different people. Me and Dan are in a group chat. We've had this kind of discussion amongst other people as well. Every game, I don't care. Because I mean, when I became a fan of City, we were dirt. Okay, we had Darius Vassell up front. You know, that's why I was, and Paul Boesveld. I don't even know if any of you know who he is. You know, Claudio Reyna, David James in the goal. Like, I mean, Richard Dunn, he had more own goals than he did tackles or something. But you know what I mean? Like, City have gone from being dirt to being fantastic in such a short period of time. I'm realistic. This isn't going to last forever. It's going to stop. Not necessarily City are going to get weaker, but other teams are going to get stronger. For example, if United are taken over by this Qatari-based consortium, etc., they're going to fly up. They're going to have millions to spend. Newcastle, etc. So to answer your question, I love every single game. And actually, I had a story there I was going to tell. I'm not going to tell it now.
But it's not. I don't think, as you said, I don't think it's the millions and millions now. It's the Pep factor, isn't it? Like, I think all the rival teams are just like, okay, once Pep goes, we're all back in with a shout. Like, you know what I mean? Because it is. There is an influence. He does. As you say, like they were playing like Ake and Akanji centre back. It's a system. You know what I mean? And they're so well drilled.
I agree.
But who else here had the thought, seeing Arsenal drop points the weekend, going, "Oh, the title's over"?
Yeah. Well, I say it popped into people's heads,
so.
like, but
yeah. Well, John, say on to you, all right? Like, same question to you. Could City walk the league this year, even after 3 games?
Yeah, I think City are gonna run away with it. I think the top 4 battle is going to be good. I think relegation is really between 3 or 4 teams. That's going to be boring enough. There's nearly 2 teams already down, as far as I'm concerned. And to be honest, City are a class above everyone else, and I think it's purely down to Pep. Like, City have had money before, but they've never dominated the way they have. No team really has. Like, I suppose United is probably the nearest thing under Fergie. Like, but even they didn't do 4. Was it 4 in a row or 3 in a row? Whatever. Yeah, whatever City are going for. So, like, it's hard to see anyone stopping them this year.
Well, I suppose I do agree with you in that. Like, Pep has brought that extra. He's brought us to that extra level where we've become a team that under Ferguson, United were, you almost felt you could be beaten before you turned up type thing. Now, I don't know, is that how other teams view City? Because I don't look at it like that. because I'm never going to take City's success for granted, because, as I said, we were dirt. Okay, I repeat, Vassell, Andy Cole.
But Deck, we're saying this, and in the end of the day, you were like what, like one header of a ball away from drawing against Sheffield United. Your man should have scored at the very end there, So I think we're getting a bit like, oh well, they're gonna walk it because they have 9 points and no one else has. But realistically, they struggled against Sheffield United, breaking down.
Absolutely, we did.
Maybe Gundogan and Mahrez might have been, in different times he might have been 3-0 up at half time last year. Who knows? So let's see.
Absolutely, I'm by no means that's why I'm not answering that question. Can City walk the league? I'm just giving it out to you. I'm not answering that. So, Kieran, sorry, go ahead.
Whether or not Man City walk the league by 30 points or by a sniff of a hair on the final day of the season, rest assured, Declan will still paint himself blue for jilling him away in the Carabao Cup.
Yes, absolutely. Gillingham, 1999. What a day that was. Okay. The rest of the results over the weekend, lads. So Everton, just very quick, we're going to run through the last few results. Everton and Wolves, Everton 0, Wolves 1. I mean, are Everton, it's too early to say that they're doomed, but I mean, things are not looking good at all. Dan?
Yeah, no, they're in serious trouble. They again, it's the whole being able to score goals. I highlighted it here several times already, so I won't go rehash it out, but they're in serious need of being able to get a few lads in there that can score a few goals. And that Wolves one, again, might that have been an early 6-pointer? Who knows? But possibly. And it's not been a good start for them. And I feel that Daichi will be coming under it now from the Everton. They're volatile when things start going wrong, so it won't be for too long before they'll start giving him a start. They kind of are already, I think, giving him a bit of a whack. But at the same time, they need to bring players in. I know they're trying to get a couple more in the door. I think there's going to be panic stations now, especially now the window closing, to get a few more in that can try and lift them. But yeah, no, they're very poor at the moment, and it's a good win for Wolves. I think Jose Sam had an unbelievable save, didn't he, near the
he did
as well. You could argue that they've had chances in some of the games to get something. They probably have, but the fact of the matter is they're not, and it's I know that can't see getting better anytime soon. To be honest, I don't see any light there. You can say, oh well, there's a few good signs, positive signs. There's not really. That was a really bad one.
It was. They knocked me out of my last man standing competition as well.
I don't know how you picked it when you said it. I was like, oh, what the fuck.
I was taking a chance. I thought they might do me a favour.
You were.
Anyways, all right. Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 1, Burnley 1, Villa 3. Villa continue to surprise. I think none of us are too shocked by their impressive start to the season. Chelsea 3, Luton 0. John, did you get to watch that?
Yeah, well, I was drinking a few pints with Daniel there on Friday, so I didn't see it live, but I caught up with it there over the weekend, and Raheem the Dream Sterling was on fire.
He's back.
He is. No, he's back. No, 100%. He's playing brilliant. Absolutely. I'll go into Chelsea more in the next segment with yourself now. The next game, Brighton 1, West Ham 3.
Classic Moyes.
Classic Moyes. Nobody saw that coming. Of the 3 predictions last week, no one kind of had West Ham whatsoever, and they went and done that. But I think Antonio had a fantastic game.
Class, yeah.
I mean, he's a striker. He gets a lot of slagging.
Handful.
He does, but he's a handful. He's a workhorse.
Yeah,
he really is.
Bowen was, yeah. So
I was just about to say, it was absolutely beautiful. The touch for the second goal, to take it down and just to slot it by, it happened like half a second.
Yeah,
West Ham could be one of the surprise teams of the season because they have Bowen up front, Antonio as well, but they also have Ward-Prowse brought in. They also have is it Alvarez, the new guy, and also Kudus. I'm getting that wrong, but they've made some very good signings by the looks of it, so they might be a hard team to beat, and Moisey could go and do another top 10, top 7 finish maybe.
Yeah,
the goalkeeper's done well as well, hasn't he? He's had a good start for them. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And then the final result over the weekend was Man United 3, Notts Forest 2. After 4 minutes, I think every one of us were laughing. And then they do what Man United do. They come back. But yeah, I'm not convinced by Man United in the first 3 games. It's an interesting time for Man United because, I mean, I don't think they've had a good transfer window.
No.
We had Mark on last week who was speaking about the kind of issues with the Glazers, etc. So it'll be interesting to see if they do any business in the last week of the window. They need to, I think. But yeah, we will see. So we'll move on. Next segment, the Chelsea Roundabout. So, John, this is why you're here this week, okay? You're here to defend your club from what has been an insane 14 months, give or take, 15 months. So, Todd Boehly, him and other investors bought the club in May 22. So far, they've spent almost 1 billion on transfers. Since he's arrived, he's bought 24 players, sold 14. This isn't counting loans. I was just doing the figures up today, so I'm open to correction, but I think they've bought 24 and sold 14. 23 of these players have been given contracts of 5 years or longer. He also frequently goes into the dressing room after matches to speak to players. Not your everyday chairman. So, John, I'm going to start with you first of all. What do you make of Chelsea's owner?
Yeah, I think Todd's doing an all right sort of job, to be honest. He's spent
I love
a few
the
dollars
optimism.
there. He spent a few dollars he had down the back of the couch, and there's a few more to come with the sounds of things. But I look, I think when he first came in fairness, I think he admitted to the fans, look, he didn't really know football per se. He was relying on Tuchel to kind of make the signings and things like that, because after Abramovich left, there was a complete clear out with Granovskaya and Cech and a few others there. So there was no real structures in the club. Tuchel was buying lads he wanted, but short-term kind of aims. And like he always said, he was going to try kind of bring in more football people around him. Like you have Joe Shields, Lawrence Stewart, and Paul Winstanley. They seem to be the 3 boys kind of doing all the signings, and see, by all accounts, seem to know what they're at. As for the long contracts, like, look, it's only accountancy at the end of the day. It's fiddling a few figures, really. Like, like Casido, I'm sure he's getting big money, but there's a lot of the younger lads that they're signing that they're getting long contracts, but they're not a huge amount of money. They're trying to ship out all the boys that had the real big contracts, like Mount, Havertz, even Lukaku there. They're trying to get him off the books. Even Kepa going to Madrid, like, really doesn't make much sense, only that you want to get rid of his wages. So from a kind of a money point of view, they seem to know what they're at, and they seem to be playing the system. What I can't kind of get my head around is either they're completely wrong and they're going to just pay a massive fine at some point, but you know what I mean? It'd be massive money to you and me. To these guys, it's only change. Or why aren't the other clubs seeing the loopholes that Chelsea have seen and exploited them? Like United are saying they can't sign anybody. Surely they could have exploited it to the same degree as Chelsea have, if they really wanted to get a few lads in.
When you say they've exploited it, how do you mean?
Well, just in terms, like, if you look at, because we're not in Europe this year, we can do it for another year, but the length of contract is only supposed to be 5 years in Europe as of last season because of what Chelsea was doing. They were seeing what they were doing, and they're like, right, we're cutting this crap out pretty much. But because they didn't make European football this year, they still can do it for another year because they're not going to get punished because they're not in European competition. The Premier League have been slow to react. They're bringing it in next year. So you'll see from next year on, Chelsea won't be able to do this.
So there's a cap on the length of contract you can offer to a player.
Yeah, see, what they didn't want was, look, it's all right for a club like Chelsea where you have a lad that's pumping in money, no problem at all. But they didn't want, I suppose, smaller clubs doing it and then not being able to meet all these, repayments going forward. It's not really an issue so much for someone like Chelsea where they have really big money behind them, but smaller clubs, trying to copy that was going to be a major issue, I think, was the issue.
Do you think, I suppose, and I'm going to get answers off the lads in a sec, I suppose, do you think the players that have come in have they spent too much? Have they brought in too many? Could that cause unrest within the team? Because you've heard all the jokes, etc. Like they've had to build 2 dressing rooms, they've had to put in numerous pitches to accommodate so many players. Like, have they bought too much? Are they trying to do too much too soon, or should it be staggered over a period of time?
Well, no, I think it was too much too soon. Like realistically, the jokes were there were facts. Like there was lads changing out in corridors and all this kind of crap. But that's just the way it was. But like they were kind of, I think the way Chelsea were looking at it was, look, there's a short window, but where we can take advantage of this. And they had an idea it was going to be closed off. UEFA then announced they were closing it off. Premier League's been a bit slower on it. So they're like, we just got to capitalize on this while we can. The other clubs haven't really reacted to it and didn't try do something of a similar themselves. Maybe they just didn't want to be offering the same length of contracts. But the thing is, they're buying such young players, they will be able to move them on. Like,
yeah,
you might make it at Chelsea, but they'll still get some sale on or loan. They can loan them out. They're not really going to be, I don't think, out a whole pile of pocket unless you lose out on someone like a Mudryk or Casado or Fernandes if they don't hit. And Mudryk is the only one. Yeah. I think he's actually a lot of talent, but I think he's shot in confidence. I would have loved to see him start against Luton, but he was injured. Like if I was Pochettino, I'd be saying, give that man 3 or 4 games. Tell him you're not taking him off. Let him build his confidence. Just say, hey, look, you've 3 or 4 games, not taking you off. Don't worry about you don't have to be watching every lad warming up or anything. Just go out there, give it your best, and let's see show us what you're worth like.
Okay. Now I'm going to kind of go to Todd Boehly and the managers that you've had so far at Chelsea. So, yeah. Kieran, I'll go to you on this one. Thomas Tuchel came in, as John has so eloquently put it, beat Manchester City in the European Cup final. Thank you for reminding me of that. Was Thomas Tuchel treated harshly, or was it just Todd Boehly being a ruthless businessman? What do you think happened? And also after that, Graham Potter, same thing.
Do you know, I honestly forgot Graham Potter was in charge of Chelsea there for a time. That was just a total memory recall.
But no, but this is reality. This is the roundabout that has been Chelsea over the last 14 months. Tuchel was there. Potter was there. You didn't even remember Potter was there, but that's the madness that has been going on for the last 14 months.
Well, you could go
before.
You can go further than that, yeah, and go back to Abramovich, and really Abramovich is kind of like the original disruptor in the kind of modern era of football. This money beyond what you can even conceive, not some low industry magnate who owns the team. This is monopoly money who's bought the team out, and now he's running it like a football manager team. And like I was thinking earlier on of some of the managers that have gone through Chelsea, like Avram Grant was there for a while, and some of the talent that's gone through that wasn't even recognized. The talent was there at Chelsea, like Salah and De Bruyne. But more recently, I think Thomas Tuchel was a casualty of Chelsea's kind of erratic sense of self, just the way the team seems to behave. I think it was so silly that was it 1 week before the end of the transfer window or 1 week afterwards they got rid of him. Completely shooting the next manager in the foot immediately. Graham Potter, the narrative has already been said, he was too nice, too pleasant a guy for the madness of Chelsea. I think that was borne out very, very quickly.
Actually on that, I sorry to interrupt you, Kieran. I had to laugh when Graham Potter was at Brighton. You'd see him on the sideline in the tracksuit and everything. Then when he went to Chelsea, he was there with the polo neck and everything. It was like a complete kind of change of person altogether. But sorry, go ahead.
Went from being Graham Potter to probably being like GP or something. The manager got this tailored suit. No, it's just been so erratic with Todd Boehly. He's been, and you have to wonder like Mudryk kind of sums up the Todd Boehly era in one. I didn't realize until I heard it the weekend that Mudryk had actually only started, was it something like 38 games in the Ukrainian Premier League or whatever it's called before. And so he was kind of caught up in the hype. He was kind of, Arsenal were in for him. And then that maybe why Chelsea then went in for him in the end, was to try and pip them up and try and, get the man before someone else in the league did. And he's probably suffered because of that price tag, suffered because of the situation in Ukraine and the situation with the league there as well. but also struggled because of the hype that has surrounded himself. And now, because there's more signing coming in, before you know it, you're already the third or fourth most recent signing in there. So I think he kind of sums it up. I think John is bang on. He needs to be given time to settle in, but also the managers as well. So we'll see where it goes with Pochettino. I'd love to see Frank Lampard come in for a third time unlucky. One more time.
Frank Lampard, like, honestly, when they brought him back in, like, it's like when you get, have a one night stand with your ex, like, it's just never going to fucking go well, is it? Like, honestly,
can be fun for one night though.
Oh my god, that was a good one. Poor old Frank. What's Frank at now?
Me and John were talking about that over pints though, like that. It's you feel bad for him because especially he didn't do that badly first time around. But I mean, in fairness, when he
wasn't great either, though.
No, but his
legacy,
but the legacy, when he went there the second time around, like, what was he thinking of taking it? I don't know. Like, what was? It's just that he obviously loves the club, like. But,
he loves the club.
Terrible manager.
Yeah, the circus didn't even want him. Like, I thought he'd be off to Saudi Arabia. Gerard got
a gig out there. I mean, if that can.
Can I say a few bits on the whole Chelsea situation?
I was about to ask actually.
Because my love for Chelsea is zero.
It runs deep.
It runs deep, yeah, it cuts deep. No, it's just, I suppose the way I look at it anyway is the Todd Boehly. He's coming in. He's either doing two things. He's either going buying everyone for whatever amount of money. He doesn't care what punishment's coming his way. That's one option. Or the other option is he's taking a big risk, putting these lads on long contracts, and they're going to have to pay back 200 million every summer. Like, that's the whole amortization thing. That is what it is. Like, you're splitting up the fee that you're paying now, and you're splitting it up over the period of the contract. So you're either paying 200 million every window, let's say, every summer, which that means, okay, who are you going to bring in if you already have a debt of minus 200, right? So you can either do that, and you just keep that team of 21-year-olds, and they get older and older and older, and you keep them together. But like, if you know football, your team needs to be refreshed. I don't care if they're a bunch of young lads or whatever. They need to have to continue to grow. You might need someone out who isn't doing it for you. You might have a guy who did his ACL. So there's a huge risk if he's going down that way. The other way, as I mentioned there, like, he doesn't care about the punishment. Clearwater, the consortium he's involved with, they own LA Dodgers. LA Dodgers, when they were bought 2014, they basically said, right, you've the union said, look, the league said, look, you've a cap of 3 million. You can't go over that for that. They spent 20 million. And they said, fuck it, we'll take whatever punishment comes. We'll take whatever punishment comes. And that was 2014. In 2020, they won the
World Series.
Yeah. So like, I think they're like, well, look, if you're going to just give us a fine or give us this, look, we'll take it. We're going to take it. But like, there's no way that other clubs are saying like, oh, look, we're not going to go down this route because we haven't thought of loopholes or whatever. That's grand. I think clubs are very well aware. Like, when the loopholes came relevant and people became aware of it, people could have done that. But no team is putting them on 8-year contracts for anymore. Like, no one's doing that. So it's either really high risk or they don't give a fuck really about the FFP. Really, it's either or. Yeah, that's fair point.
It could be both, but at the same time, until Boehly and the consortium came in, nobody had the foresight to do it before this. So you'd have to ask questions there, like.
That's true, but you would have thought someone would have taken it up since then. You know what I mean?
Well, we can
long contracts.
In terms of its success, it's very short-lived so far. It's only been they've had one season, and look, they had a terrible season last year. So I mean, obviously, this is going to take time to see whether this works or not. One thing that has not changed from the Abramovich era is the treatment of managers. So you touched on it there, poor old Frank. He can't get Frank has no luck whatsoever. But Tuchel went, Graham Potter went, Frank came in and did his few months. He's the Mr. Chelsea, etc. But in terms of Pochettino now, so I mean, what would represent a good season for Chelsea this year? Kieran, I'm going to come to you on this one. what would represent a good season for Chelsea this year? And if they don't get it, what could happen to Pochettino?
A good season for Chelsea will be Europe, will be top 4, preferably. Will be some sense of stability and progress. So wins, not completely falling apart in the second half of the season, all of these things. I think a very good season for Sterling and some other more senior members of the squad, senior meaning 27 or older in the current setup.
Very good.
You mean 23?
23, yeah. The average age is like 18 or something like that, I think.
Todd Dream Machine keeps on rolling. If Pochettino doesn't get that, I think he'll be given the season anyways, unless something major goes wrong. But if it's not the case, then he'll be let go. But I really don't know.
But okay, so you think he'll be given 1 year, and if he doesn't get top 4, you think he's out the door?
I think he will be given the year regardless. But as to what happens at the end of the season, depending on how the year has gone, but I think they're going to they'll be top 7.
But is that not the same though directive for most managers? Like we talked about before, like if Postecoglou would come in, right? And I know we said there that Kane, I'll give him more time. But if Spurs end up fucking finishing 10th, so I mean, like it's so fickle football in the sense of like I think that's not just a Pochettino or a Chelsea problem. That's a culture. You could say that Chelsea started the culture, fair enough, but like. It's a fair culture across, even if you do well in this game, you're getting people want you out like Moisey. We talked about that as well. Like, he done well, and they were still talking about wanting him gone. So I don't know. I just think that I know the Chelsea maybe culture, but I wouldn't be outside the realms. Of course, the Poch could go. But I think the same for Levy and Postecoglou. As well as it started, if they don't get Europe and they're like down there in 9th or 8th place. And there's not much sign. I just think that it's across most. I think you talked about there's maybe 2 or 3 managers that maybe have maybe bought an awful lot of time. The likes of obviously the ones near the top of the league. But that's probably my feeling on it.
We will leave the last word with John. Pochettino, what represents a good season, and if he does not achieve it, will he be sacked?
Well, just on the managers, I honestly do think if the whole thing with Abramovich didn't happen, I actually do think Tuchel would still be there. I think he did say he got on very well with Granitskaya and Czech, and it was the best kind of backroom team that he ever had around him. And I did think it suited him. And to be fair to Tuchel, I think he was a very good manager. Like, it had to be hard answering questions about can they afford to pay for the bus to go up to play West Brom or go up to Liverpool who's covering the price of the flight, like. That had to be hard on top of answering all the questions about Ukraine and everything, and he nothing to do with it. Like, I think by the time Boehly came in and they wanted to kind of go their own direction in some ways, I think Tuchel was just sick of everything, to be honest. And I honestly think Pochettino is the first proper manager, really, of the Boehly era. Like, as I was saying to Daniel over a few pints there on Friday, like, Potter had to take the job when he was offered it. The same with Frank. You might never get that chance again. But the reality is, if you're good enough, you probably will get the chance again. But Potter really wasn't. The same way with Frank. But I actually do think Pochettino, I'd have big hopes for Pochettino. I actually think he's a good manager. He'll work well with young players. And I can see him actually staying there a couple of years. I think he's kind of bought into the whole process. He had a rough time at PSG there with dealing with, like, Mbappe and Neymar. It's a different kind of profile of squad. I think it's more suited to his coaching ability, and I actually think he could last a while.
So what would, in your opinion, what would be the expectation when he sat down with Boehly? What would he have been said? Okay, this is what I want from this season.
I think top 4. Like, they're not aiming to win it, but I think they have a few nice young players that are after signing. Sterling's back in form. Jackson looks a player. Enzo, well, we got the LFC midfield now with Lavia, Fernandez, and Caicedo, so that's going to propel us up a few places. But and I think top 4, and it's probably a 2 or 3 year project before we're really challenging for titles. But top 4, I think, is the aim. Yeah.
Cool. All right, very good. Cheers for all that, man. We'll move on now to the Fanatic 4, so the game week predictions for next weekend. So, The 4 games we have chosen are Luton and West Ham, Burnley and Spurs, Brighton and Newcastle, and the big one, Arsenal and Man United. From last week, we had 2 choices that actually proved to be correct. So Howard had 1 pick. Remind me, Howard, what team was it?
Let me have a look.
I know Dan had Liverpool to beat Newcastle 2-1. Fair play.
That's Jason Tyndall. Yeah.
Was it the Wolves game? Everton Wolves?
That's the one. Yeah, it was. Yeah, you had Wolves to win 1-0.
Yeah.
Okay, so next weekend, next Friday night, Luton versus West Ham. Dan.
I think that Luton could, being at their first home game, they good atmosphere. I still think they'll lose though, so I'm going 2-1. I think we got 2-1 West Ham.
He had built that up and he just completely knocked them down.
Yeah, no, I think they could put it up them, but West Ham are resolute, and I think I think they can go there, and I won't bother them. They'll win 2-1. Yeah.
At least you're giving them a goal. At least fair play.
Yeah.
Okay, Kieran, Luton and West Ham.
I really want to believe in Luton so much, but I'm going to say a West Ham win as well. Yeah, 1-0 to West Ham.
1-0 to West Ham. All right, Howard.
I have 2-0 West Ham. Yeah, I think Luton are I think they're going to be the whipping boys by the looks of it.
It looks that way, right?
A few matches. They have a full back there, and I swear to God, he's like a headless chicken running around. I don't know if you've seen him. He's all arms, like running around. Anyway,
what do you mean he's all arms?
He's just like a box of a man running around, like, you know what I mean. He's like a rugby player, really. He's like a kind of short. Anyway, look, it just strikes me as like, geez, this lad's not going to make it in the Premier League. Like, you know by the way he's even moving, like. So look, 2-0 West Ham.
All right. In fairness, he's the one of us that has form at the predictions. He has 2 so far. John, Luton and West Ham.
2-0 West Ham. Luton are the worst Premier League team I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, in fairness, like, they haven't started well, and yeah, it could get bad if they don't start to pick up.
Great story, but terrible team.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like it is. Yeah, they look like. But again, the story and where they've come from. There's no other team that's ever come up in Premier League.
But what odds would you get them to actually stay up? Must be serious. Like, if they actually stay up in the Premier League, I'd say the odds are frightening. I'd say
Yeah.
Okay, Burnley versus Spurs. Dan.
I've gone for a bit more of the ant ball, so I've gone for.
You're turning into a believer.
Yeah. I think that Burnley have had a shaky start, and I think that the way Spurs are playing, and they're getting better. I think with each game they've played so far, so I've gone for 3-1 away at Burnley. Yeah.
Okay, Kieran, Burnley and Spurs.
I mean, how big do you want to go here?
You can't go against your hero now. Come on.
I regret to inform you, I'm becoming a bit of a Spurs fan. I think it's
I don't like it.
I think 2-0 Spurs. Yeah, Ange Ball all the way.
Spurs. Ange Ball, get a tattoo in the back. Howard, Burnley and Spurs.
I have 2-1 Spurs. Yeah.
No one giving Vincent Kompany a chance. John, Spurs and Burnley.
1-0 Spurs.
Jesus Christ.
Kompany is naive.
Why is he naive?
Naive. The way he's playing, it reminds me of Blackpool. Every time Blackpool went up and then just decided to go and actually try every week to week just try and play football, change the whole setup. They got away with it in the Championship, but
they were entertaining, if nothing.
Yeah. No, entertainment. But I just think that he could be a bit naive there because I don't sure if they have a way of tightening things up. He's going to play his way. No, in fairness, it's to be respected. I'm not trying to put it down.
No, I get it.
But I have a bit of question mark over them. I want to maybe chill in and look at them a bit more. But yeah,
in fairness to them, like, they did miss a game last week. Luton's stadium wasn't ready for the Premier League, so like the game was postponed. But 2 games in, fair enough.
Like that Villa one was a you know what I mean? Like Villa have gone away there and pumped them, like, so,
Yeah,
Spurs.
fair enough. Villa just on that as well, like Matty Cash of all players getting 2 goals at the weekend. That's like fair enough. Brighton versus Newcastle, Dan.
I've gone for 1-1.
1-1.
Yeah, I reckon it'll be a tighter affair. I don't see Brighton I fancy Brighton to put on a better performance. Even though like they actually played good ball against West Ham, just kept getting caught in a couple of counters. And yeah, Newcastle. I have a feeling that could be a draw, so it's not 1-1.
Okay. Kieran, Brighton and Newcastle?
Yeah, I've been really impressed by Brighton, but I think Newcastle, they need to go and win a game now. They haven't won since the opening day, so I think we're going to see a little bit of a reactionary performance. So I'm going to say 2-0 Newcastle.
That's a big one. Okay. Howard?
I've actually the opposite theory to Kieran there. I think Brighton are gonna beat Newcastle simply because they played Arsenal last year, and the game beforehand I think they lost at home like 3-0 to, so I can't remember who it was, but it was out of the blue, and then De Zerbi was like, "Look, wait till you see us. It'll be the next game will be at our best again." I think he's going to do that again against the Newcastle. I think they're going to be riled up after losing 3-1 to West Ham. I think they might do a job on them. So 2-1, I have them.
2-1. Okay, no worries. And finally, John, Brighton and Newcastle.
I think a draw. I think 2-2. I think both. I think they'll cancel out each other.
Okay.
Can I just say that, Tech, as well? It'd be interesting to see on the Botman injury. I don't know if much has come out yet about it, but I think I mentioned it here on the podcast before around their centre backs, how good the two of them are. That the drop off is quite huge, and the drop off from Botman is Lascelles. So I'd be just interested to see that he didn't look like a good one when he came off. I don't know how bad it is, but that could be imagine Newcastle could end up in the market again if that ended up being wouldn't surprise me if that was a long-term one.
Yeah. Okay. Arsenal versus Man United. Dan.
Howard, how are you? No, I've gone for Arsenal to win 3-1 because I just find United have been less convincing so far than Arsenal, and I think Arteta will go back to a bit more normality. I wouldn't be surprised as well if Havertz was to miss out. Actually, he might drop him possibly, but I think that Arsenal could definitely go and score a couple of goals. So I've gone 3-1. 3-1 Arsenal.
Okay.
United's record, as well. United's record against top sides away from home as well as brutal.
Fair point. Yeah, fair point. Howard, I'm going to leave you to last on this one. Kieran, Arsenal and Man United.
Yeah, I don't know what this one. I think Arsenal grind out a win. They seem to do enough, and I think they're all going to get a good bollocking off Mikel, and maybe we'll see David Raya in goal. So yeah, Arsenal to win. 1-0.
1-0. Okay. I doubt Arteta understands the word bollocking, but anyway. John, Arsenal United.
I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. And I think Arteta might show them the Luis Rubilas grabbing his balls there to show them the bollocking.
Oh yeah. We're not even going into that whole issue. Just no, not a hope. Not a hope in hell. Okay. Howard, Arsenal versus United. What do you think?
I have 3-1 Arsenal, same as Dan.
Come on.
Obviously, you're gonna back us, but like, I think it could be tired of people think like United usually play on the counter a lot of times against the big teams, and sometimes it can work out like with Rashford up top. But I think it was 3-2. I think Nketiah got a goal last minute in the game last year, so it wasn't all plain sailing. But you'd like to think now if we get Jesus up top, get Zinchenko back in the team, we've Rice. I'd say we play Rice, Partey, and Odegaard midfield. Like it's a strong team. Like you'd like to think that they'd have enough to dominate them, but let's see. I'm hopeful. It'll be a good game.
So what
Kieran
Howard
has his
saying
finger
there,
raised. Yeah, go ahead.
Rice makes obvious sense, but I mean, what Howard is saying there is that they need to revert to last season with Jesus and Zinchenko in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have Howard's unconscious coming out there.
Yeah. No, I think like that's our strongest way of setup. Like playing
Gabriel as well, Saliba.
Yeah, Gabriel at the
right
back.
back.
Like the transfer window will be closed. I know enough for the circus over Saudi Arabia, but it'll be closed for the Premier League. And you'd like to think that that'll draw a line. If like Arsenal, if they're going to sell Gabriel, and that all happens, they'll need to get a replacement in. So that all has to happen before the transfer window closes. So I'd say if he's still there by the end of Friday evening, he'll start for that game. He's a huge player for them. I don't understand why he did get rid of him.
I agree.
So
okay. Cheers for all your predictions, lads. We will announce if anyone has made any correct predictions next week. So we move on to the fantasy football update. So just before Dan, I hand it over to you, I just want to just make note of one thing. Howard, I was told that you made a very big decision this weekend to use your
yeah, who told you this? I didn't know anyone knew this.
Hold on. I have more to come as well. I have a message to read out from a listener of the show.
Oh, Jesus.
You made a wild card decision, did you?
Oh, lads, I made an absolute. I had a howler,
You really
howler in the fantasy league. I played my wild card, and basically all the players that I replaced had an unreal week, and all the players that I got in absolutely flopped. Oh God, and that was on top of the whole Arsenal result. Oh jeez.
And out of the 42 players in the league, Howard, where do you find yourself today?
Am I at the bottom? I haven't looked at the league.
He's 33rd.
Okay, 33rd. Not too bad. But look, it just shows you, like, you know, you can press the button too quickly in these wild card things. You know what I mean? Like, I was doing it basically. You know, Odegaard was on penalties there last week, and I was like, oh sure, he'll be taking the penalties going forward. Just get Odegaard in, take Saka out. Sure, Saka is taking a penalty then at the weekend. Like, you just you can't buy this stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Diaby, you got Diaby out, and I had him in, and he's there, an assist and a goal.
But he was doing well.
I had an absolute nightmare. And hopefully, you know what? I'm not even going to do anything anymore. I'm just going to leave it for a bit, and hopefully it'll just sort itself out. Like
the Chewbacca effect. Say nothing. Let it sort itself out. Come here. I won't name the person who sent in the message, but I will read it out. Okay.
Do.
So he was going. When you're doing the fantasy football section on the show, make reference to Howard using his wild card this week. Every player he took out scored massive points, and every player he brought in did sweet feck all. I'm sure you'll be able to think of a roundabout way of having a dig without saying it straight out. We just decided to say it straight out.
You took out Nunes, didn't you?
I had Nunes in a few weeks ago. He's gone. Yeah, look, I like every decision I made, I thought was coming from a great footballing background. You know what I mean? But it's good to know that my team has been monitored weekly anyway by someone. Anyway,
that came in from a Man United fan.
That's all. Fair enough.
Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, so we have Jimmy Floyd Bottlebank. So that's my brother Alex, who's leading the way with 195 points. So he's a point ahead of.
So you can confirm that Connor Jordan is no longer on top.
Connor Jordan's no longer on top. No.
He has been knocked off his perch. Yeah. I'm a happy man. Keep going.
Yeah, big week for Stephen Flynn. He had a cracking week. His team is called Y'all Need Jesus, so I presume he's either very religious or he's an Arsenal fan. So he is 1 point behind, actually. So it's very tight there at the top. And Stephen had Cash, Nunes, and Madison. So it was a big week for Stephen. Yeah, and looking at this weekend, City and Chelsea players, I'd say people will be loading up on them with Chelsea are home against Forest and City are home against Fulham. And just reference here, I've written down here, Dan is 9th in the league and Howard is 33rd. Just wrote that down there as well. So
Very good.
It's a long way to go. A lot more hard to go.
Means that I'm too far down at the bottom of the table to even be worth scrolling down there.
You're the Kieran at the bottom, are you?
I joined late. I'm catch up. Yeah.
I didn't know you were into fantasy football.
We'll monitor you now, Kieran.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm so bad at it. I set up my team once and then I forget about it. So you can expect to see me hovering around relegation zone all season long, I'd say.
Fair enough. All right. Actually, John, do you do fantasy football?
No, for the exact reason, Kieran. Do it for the first week or two, and then you forget about maybe a Friday game or something that I just was interested in.
I hear you. All right, guys. And finally, we'll just give a quick update on the Monksland United last man standing. So, got a message today that over 30 people were eliminated over the weekend. Arsenal was the big surprise. Brentford, Brighton, and Everton also caused a few to fall. Everton were my downfall. Literally when I did it, and then Dan kind of heard that I did it, he goes like, "Why?" with a question mark. But anyways, Dan, who did you do this weekend?
I had Chelsea.
Fair enough. Easy
And I've
straight
actually
out.
mapped out the next 5. I have the next 5 mapped out if I'm picking. Had a little look. So the next 5
See,
I think
that's-
are the way I think should be there, still be in it, hopefully. And then after that it gets a bit tricky.
Okay. Well, if they're down to 30, so
I actually haven't found a game for Liverpool. I was looking at Liverpool's next few fixtures. I couldn't pick them for any of them. I think the next one that I fancy Liverpool actually, you know, as a certainty would be at home against Everton in like October. So yeah. Anyway.
okay. Just on Monksland United. So this season they are starting in 2 weekends' time. So they are going to try and win back their league title from Clara. From what I'm hearing, is the likes of Willow Park, St. Peter's, Monksland, Clara, Mullingar, they're all in with a shout this season. I'm still waiting on the call to come back. I'll be waiting a while.
John used to play for was it you were Shelburne, Dan, was it? He's still waiting for the call back.
A rock and roll lifestyle, man. All right, man. Thank you very much for taking part this weekend. I really appreciate it. What do you call it? If you want to get in touch with the podcast, you can get us on Instagram at Football Fanatic Podcast. You can email us, footballfanaticpodcast@gmail.com. Please subscribe on YouTube or follow us on Spotify, which we've set up as of this week gone by. So, lads, thanks very much for taking part, okay?
All right.
Tech as always.
Cheers, Tech.
Thanks, Dick.
Brilliant, guys.
Thanks.
Have a good
Thanks,
week.
guys.
Cheers.